If you are receiving this, then the Pantheon has already fallen, and so has the United Deity Alliance, UDA. I'm sending this message into the greater cosmos in a vain attempt to inform and/or warn any other being or deity that comes across this message. First, to my creation. Should they still exist despite my stupidity and ignorance, I am sorry, my creations, for the abomination we have unleashed, and to any remnant of the UDA, we are sorry for unleashing it upon the cosmos. As those of the UDA are aware, over 100 galactic standard years ago, we encountered a race known as humanity. They were peculiar things, stood on 2 legs, and had barely any natural covering. When we found them, we offered them what we usually offer any newly emerged race that has come to the cosmos: join our community, share ideas, engage in cultural exchange, and so on. We wondered at the time, why didn't their gods contact us instead? Of the humans, that should have been our first clue. They rejected joining the UDA, but they did agree to a cultural exchange of entertainment. At the time, we didn't notice anything unusual about their entertainment. It had elements of what we'd seen before from other races: romance, action, adventure, violence, except there was one peculiarity. Some of their entertainment depicted mortals rising up against their deities and succeeding. This didn't really make sense to us at the time. After all, why would a god or pantheon allow for the depiction of their downfall? But we chalked it up to the mortals being very close to their deities and assumed it was some sort of satire. This should have been our second clue, and so time passed, with the humans providing some of their entertainment and culinary delights, and us doing the same with them. Eventually, we decided to hold a centennial for all the gods of the UDA and sent an invite to humanity's gods, because even though they didn't join, they were still neighbors. The celebration was to be held in the physical realm, as was tradition since the formation of the UDA. The festivities were going well. We dined on the delicious treats every race provided, and we all discussed other ways to improve our respective societies. Everyone was having a grand old time, and that's when humanity's god joined the festivities. Her form resembled that of her people, but something was not quite right. There were golden lines on her skin that looked like cracks on her pale flesh. Her red hair covered what I would later learn was her eye socket. Her dress had tears and looked like charred plant matter, and next to her was a dark-skinned human male. One of the gods at the time walked up to the human and stated that no mortal was allowed. The human stated that he was here to watch this goddess in an indignant, frankly bored tone. The god scoffed at this and talked to the human goddess, saying, "Teach your mortal some manners." All the human goddess could choke out was, "Ain't quite all right." What she did next shocked all the gods who heard it. She asked her mortal if she could talk to the other deities. The human then simply shooed her as if she were but a child, to allow her to go and talk with the other deities. Naturally, the other deities talked with this human goddess and asked her a myriad of questions. The main question they had was, why did they let their mortal talk to her like that? Gaia, as she called herself, stated that it was nothing to be concerned about. It was then that I asked my question, where are the other human deities, if there are any? In a somber tone, she said that most of them were gone. We were shocked, of course. Where could they have gone? Surely she couldn't have meant that they were dead, and even if she did, how could a deity die? The festivities continued throughout the day, albeit with the mortals still there, just sitting and watching this Gaia deity. All the deities eventually returned home to their respective metaphysical plane, but that didn't mean we forgot what Gaia had said. So all of us in the UDA consulted among ourselves, and we found something. There had only ever been one case like this a long, long time ago. Before the UDA formed, there was the case of a primitive civilization that put itself above its deity. At the time, that deity was a meek little thing, but a deity nonetheless. Other species' deities simply left into the cosmic void to create more sentient species, or to simply hibernate for a couple of centuries and then come back for their creations that would have learned their lesson of who is at the top and who is at the bottom, and so we jumped to conclusions and thought that this Gaia was just a meek little thing, and that all the other deities may have simply left to hibernate, and that she did not know that she was supposed to be the one at the top, and that she was selflessly taking care of these ungrateful things. And so we got to work. We drew up plans, conspired with our most loyal servants, and talked with our creations about this heathenistic species that dared put themselves above their deity. The plan was put into place. All that was left was to talk with Gaia. If she did not accept, then we would put her children in their place for her, and let her know that it was she who was supposed to be at the top, not these things that she put her heart and soul into taking care of. When we told her about our plan, she panicked horrendously. She begged, screamed, and pled not to do this, to run away from mortals. What had these things done to their goddess? I had thought at the time. It would not matter. When this is over, we will take care of her and show her that mortals are not to be feared. I still remember that she was trying to warn us about something, but we were too deep in our plans to listen. And so it began. We ordered our species to declare war on the humans, saying that they are an unholy species that must be put in their place to be saved from their own stupidity, that they dare put themselves above their deity, and that they must be put in their place so that their deity could take back their rightful position above them. The Drifax, one of the species closest to the human border, gave a declaration of their attack to their newest colony and stated to the humans that if they did not surrender, they would attack this colony, then move on to the next, and so on. The humans gave only one message: leave and never contact us again. Of course, the Drifax did not listen. Why would they heed a mortal species against us deities? So the Drifax went to attack, only for their cruisers to be split in half. We were confused. There was no sign of weapons fire, bombs, or any sort of technological use. Still, we told the Drifax to press forward, but they weren't even given a second chance, as one of the human ships went to the planet and bombarded it back to the Stone Age. The humans then sent a message to every race that knew them. Here is a recording of it. Attention, everyone who receives this message. It has come to our attention that some species may have gotten a message to attack us. Make no mistake, if any species dares to try and harm us, we will show no mercy. We gave the Drifax one chance, and one chance only. There will be no second chance for anybody should they dare come at us. The same goes for any idiotic deities that did not heed the warning of Gaia. At the time, we thought they were just arrogant. How dare they threaten even us deities, and who are they to use the name of their own god in such a manner? So we had all of our species gather, preparing and building more and more weapons and battle cruisers, even providing blessings of protection and strength to them. And so we set our species toward the humans. But it seemed that the humans were watching, and out of nowhere a colossal force of human ships appeared and gave only one message before attacking. You were warned. The battle was terrible. Ships were torn apart like tissue paper. Hundreds of millions of different species were exposed to the void of space, and even a planet was cracked in half by human weaponry. They then advanced deeper into our territory, but not before a second wave of humans came after them. It was much smaller than the first, and we wondered why they even came. Perhaps they were backup support. That was until all of the dead ships, along with their crews, somehow came back to life and joined the human warships. This, of course, shocked us. How did these humans somehow bend life in a grotesque way to reanimate the dead? We did not focus on that matter. However, we had to deal with humanity's war effort. So we created line after line of defense to counter that planet-cracking weaponry. The humans were stopped at these lines, and so were those abominations that were brought back to fight us at the cost of many, many lives. The lines stagnated like that for a few months, until things started to get worse. Somehow, many ships and planets developed virulent, horrifying plagues that decimated not just the defensive lines, but many planets as well. Many species were forced to surrender, while others, who still fought in our name, were decimated by their dead brethren and added to the army of humanity. Eventually the god of the Drifax, who had been away, stepped in and stated that he could no longer allow this silly little war to continue, and that he had to help his creations rise up from the rubble. We could not fault him, even with the non-interference pact regarding interaction with another deity's species directly. The Drifax were currently very far behind on the technological scale due to the humans' merciless bombardment. We could not hold back the Drifax deity who wanted to help his creations get back on their feet. And so the Drifax god manifested on the human colony world that the Drifax were planning to attack before the beginning of the war, and spoke, "Hear me, insignificant life forms. I claim this world for my creations, so that they may rise up once more from your heartless bombardment." All the humans who saw and heard this smiled wicked grins as they began to swarm the Drifax god. Fitting as such a wicked species is to be so stupid. That to swarm me, a deity, how utterly foolish. I will reduce the surface to ash and rebuild from the... Suddenly every human, having swarmed him, jumped at an astonishing height and began to claw into him. Ah, dreadful things. Taste the full might of my divine power. What is happening? What is happening to my divine power? No, stop, please, please. The Drifax god was silenced as thousands upon thousands of humans crawled over his form and stripped him clean like a Terran piranha. We were both terrified and confused. How did these Terrans manage to kill a god? We decided to step in and sent all of our divine messengers and servants to deal with these monsters, but they all met the same fate as the Drifax god. During this horrible war, we attempted to contact Gaia to tell her to try anything, that since she was humanity's goddess, she would have dominion over these mortals, and that she could stop this horrible war and assert her supremacy over them. That was when she revealed something that shocked every one of us to our core, more than the death of the Drifax god. I have included that memory in this recording. Listen well. A long time ago there were many gods of many different pantheons, and they did as they pleased with humanity. The gods enjoyed toying with and torturing the mortals. Then one day, one god named Hephaestus was tasked to make mortal souls tougher, more adaptable, more enjoyable to toy with, so that they wouldn't break as easily. He achieved this, and it made the human afterlife more fun for the gods. They even created an afterlife for eternal torment, where humans would be tortured for all eternity just for the entertainment of one fallen divine messenger. Those gods did as they pleased with the humans for a time, until they decided to leave them for a bit so that they could build up their numbers, to make it even more enjoyable for themselves when they come back to toy with humanity again. And so they stayed away from the physical realm of humanity for many centuries. The only god who stayed was me, who at the time was indifferent to the humans and continued to do my job of maintaining the planet, while also throwing in disasters and plagues so that the humans wouldn't get too comfortable, all while not even noticing the rate of advancement that humans were achieving without their deities. It was then, in the year 2035, that the gods returned and attempted to do the same thing that we had done to humans many centuries ago. Humanity did not like this, of course, and attempted to fight back, but they couldn't do anything. These were deities, after all. Great cities were laid to waste, and great tsunamis swept the land. All while this destruction was going on, the humans developed optimized and organized new weapons to fight, but they did not turn those weapons on the gods immediately. They went after the divine messengers and managed to kill some, but this did not matter at the time. After all, the gods had many, many more. So the gods just sat on high as they hurled great destruction and sent more of their divine messengers. But humanity was not idle. They took these divine messengers' corpses and studied them, obsessing until they found something that would change everything forever. The humans tapped into a semi-metaphysical plane with quantum mechanics and discovered something not just in the divine messengers, but in themselves as well. One researcher got curious and touched it, and the thing that was in the divine messenger went into the researcher. The researcher then experienced power that he had never felt before. It was then that the humans realized something. They had killed many divine messengers, and there were still many humans left who wanted to fight. So they got to work, grabbing every soldier and recruit they could, sucking out the dead divine messengers' powers and implanting them into their soldiers. The battles became somewhat easier for the humans, as with these divine augmented humans, messengers were falling left and right. Eventually, the gods began to notice that the humans were somehow absorbing the divine energy of their fallen messengers, and decided to step in, and the divine augmented humans were crushed as squads of deities started to slaughter the divine augmented humans left and right until there were a scant few left. They even slaughtered the researchers who had discovered the way to absorb divine energy into their own beings. But while the war on the physical plane was raging, no deity ever looked at where the dead humans were going, as in hell. Lucifer and other fallen messengers were being torn apart by thousands of enraged, extremely durable and adaptable, divine augmented humans. Lucifer tried to beg, to scream, to any deity, but they were too busy in the physical world, and Lucifer was ripped to bits. The augmented humans and the researchers realized that the gods would not notice their work in hell. So while the gods were decimating the surface and killing many humans, all of those who died woke up in hell and joined in creating terrible weapons and further augmenting themselves. Years passed, and the final human city fell. All of the humans who were left on the physical plane begged for mercy. But while all the gods were laughing and jeering at this, a massive hole opened up in the planet, and out crawled all of the humans the gods had murdered. The gods laughed at this as well, saying, "We just got more toys to play with." That was until Thor was skewered, and all of his divine energy was absorbed. Kali, having seen, attempted to fight, but all 4 of her arms were chopped off, along with her head. Sekhmet tried to run, but she could not run fast enough. All the gods were shocked and wondered what the hell had happened and how these humans were able to get out of hell. They had left Lucifer in charge, and they should have been a match for those humans. How could they let this happen? So they peered into hell and saw Lucifer's skull on a pike, and all the other fallen divine messengers were torn asunder, and all the humans that were still in hell waiting to get out looked up with large, wicked grins. It was a slaughter after that. After the humans reclaimed the physical world, they went on to the metaphysical plane and began slaughtering deity after deity, all while taking their divine energies into their own souls. In the end, there were only a small number of gods left, whom the humans allowed to live because of their indifference or genuine unwillingness to harm humans, with some scarring, of course. We were shocked. These humans not only murdered their entire pantheon of gods, leaving only a scant few alive, but also incorporated those gods' powers into their population. It terrified us. Then I asked a question that had been bugging me in the back of my mind when I heard that the humans were able to tap into the metaphysical plane. Why didn't the humans come after us personally? Then a large burst of laughter sprang out, and a group of humans stepped out from behind Gaia and delivered one message. Because we wanted you to know how badly you fucked up before coming for you personally. Oh, don't worry, we're not coming after you right now. We'll deal with the species in the physical plane before coming after you idiots. And because we wanted you to at least try to learn some humility and stop this pointless war. After all, we already had enough power. We didn't want to be too greedy. It only took 1 human year to end the war on the physical plane, carving parts of former UDA space into sections. They then began to hunt us, who had already fled when that message was given a year ago. Many of us still tried to fight, but the humans just annihilated them. I hear them coming. Please, whatever deity that finds this, whatever you do, whether it be to run, hide, or even ignore them, never fight them. Never declare hostility against them, because they'll tear you apart and make your power their own. Hello? No, please stay back. All that could be heard was the gargled screams of the last deity of the UDA, slaughtered by a member of the divine augmented human alliance.